The HP Spectra X360 is very popular, but it's also very expensive. But then again, so is the MacBook Pro that Apple released. The thing about the HP Spectra is that it has some pretty unique features, depending on which version of or which model you get. One of the models include 8 gigabytes of RAM in terms of memory. Also includes 256 gigabytes in terms of storage. And while some products have the i5 5200U processor, others have the i7 Intel Core processor. And the thing about the HP Spectra is that the prices for that computer brand is actually cheaper than the MacBook Pro, or at least at stores like Best Buy, because you look at the HP Spectra X360 2-in-1 13-inch touchscreen laptop. The 8 gigabyte version that has 256 gigabytes of solid state drive, and also includes the Intel Core i7 processor. That at a store such as Best Buy would cost somewhere between, on average, be $1,350 and $1,400, and that's something that's very expensive. But comparing that to the prices of the MacBook Pro, it's not such a big deal. I mean, you look at the MacBook Pro at Best Buy on average, depending on how much is left, because they're actually selling pretty good despite how expensive they are. You look at the MacBook Pro, it's very expensive, mostly because it's brand new, and also because they got the touch bar, which actually have been having a lot of problems since it's come out. But those who got the warranty don't have to worry about too much. But a MacBook Pro with that's 13 that has a 13-inch display and an Intel Core i5 processor, on average would cost somewhere around $1,800 at Best Buy, and that's just for the 8 gigabyte model of that has memory and 256 gigabytes of flash storage. Now, looking at some of the features without the touch bar, it's less expensive, probably somewhere around the $1,500 dollar mark. And the thing about that is, comparing that to the HP Spectra X360 with 16 gigabytes, and an i7 processor, that is actually costs a lot less than that of probably one of the basic MacBook Pros that actually has touch bar and 13-inch display. And the thing about the Apple MacBook Pro is that in order to get one that has 16 gigabytes, consumers would have to pay to get a 15-inch display for the MacBook Pro, and they would have to pay at least $2,000 just to get that model of it, and that's with the touch bar. So I mean, you look at prices at Best Buy, then it's just, wow, it's a huge difference between the MacBook Pro and the Spectre X360, and it's just, maybe at Best Buy, maybe that's probably one of the few stores that one is significantly priced higher than the other. But despite the price differences, there have been many reports of the Apple MacBook Pro doing pretty well in terms of sales, because the touch bar feature is something that's new and unique, and it's something that many people wanted to try out for themselves. But the thing is, you can get the HP Spectra X360, that has features such as 4K Ultra HD display for a much lower price, approximately around $1,350, somewhere in that price range at Best Buy, while the MacBook Pro is really more expensive, despite the problems that it's been having. So I mean, looking at some of the computers that are currently out right now, and what people are really into, it's amazing to see that laptops are selling very fast these days. And the thing is, with the Apple MacBook Pro, despite the fact that there have been problems, it's still doing pretty well in sales, and it's still something that many people feel is something that's necessary, and something that's top notch, and something that they need to have. I mean, even though the pricing in comparison to some of his competitors may be a little, questionable to some people, you can argue with results in terms of sales. And basically, it seemed like it's going to do pretty well in terms of sales for the rest of what's left of 2016 and during the first half of 2017. But, in terms of pricing, the Spectre X360, even though it's expensive in the eyes of many people, it's not nearly as expensive as the MacBook Pro with the Touch Bar. And I suppose, those who want the MacBook Pro, they could get it without the Touch Bar, but, the Touch Bar is basically one of the main reasons why a lot of people are probably getting it. And, and not only that, you could probably get the Spectre X360 with an i7, or an Intel Core i7 processor, which is something that's very, makes your computer run so much faster for a lesser price. But, those who want to try out the MacBook Pro should give it a shot. It's just that, some people would probably wait for the price to drop, or to get a deal on it, or what have you. But it's really interesting to see that, both computers are doing well in terms of sales, despite how expensive they are. And if that's not proof that technology in this day and age is advancing at a rapid pace, then, I don't know what is.